Our next speaker is Rupa Dachere. She's the founder and president of CodeChicks.org, which is a California non-profit organization with chapters across the US. She's also a member of the technical staff at VMware working on vSphere. She's been a software developer and tinkerer for 2 decades and loves to learn new technologies and build new skills. To show us instantaneous notifications with Arduino and Raspberry Pi, please welcome Rupa Dachere.
Hello, hello. Okay, is this working? It's working, right? Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to my talk on Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and how I'm using both of these gadgets to do some home automation in my house. My name is Rupa Dachere, as he mentioned. So I called this project PiDoorbell because I'm using the Raspberry Pi and I'm mostly using Python for actually building it. It's my goal to enhance this project in phases up to a point where I can have a two-way communication with whoever's at my front door. And I want this communication to be done within minutes of them arriving, regardless of where I am. So I could be here in Australia, I could be in Japan, I could be in my backyard, having a drink, and I don't want to get up. But I want to know who's there at my front door and just kind of have a conversation. So that's essentially what I wanted to do. First off, I'm delighted to be here. It's a beautiful place. I would really like to thank the organizers from PyCon Australia, specifically Chris, did an awesome job. And secondly, I would not be here if it wasn't for the Python Software Foundation and their funding for the Diversity and Outreach program. So I'm absolutely thrilled and honored to be here, and thank you so much for making that possible. So this is kind of a rundown of what's going to happen at this talk. So I'm going to talk about the problem. I'm going to talk about the phases of my project, at least what I'm thinking right now, the solution and why I chose that solution. Do a very, very brief comparison between the Raspberry Pi, the Arduino, and the BeagleBone White. And I'll show all the hardware. Actually, all the hardware I'm using is right here. And do a live demo. And then show most of the code. I also have a backup video in case something goes wrong. And I have a slide on the issues I'm running into right now and some of the future work that I'm thinking of doing, and Q&A. So what happened is I did the first phase of this talk in PyCon USA in March, and I ran out of time, so I couldn't take any Q&A. So if you have some, really quick questions while I'm doing the talk, please don't hesitate to just, yell out, say, hey, blah, 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 whatever you want to ask, and I will be happy to answer. In case I run out again, I will be outside. Feel free to grab me. I'm happy to answer any questions you'd like. So yeah. So what is the problem that I wanted to solve? I wanted to know who was at my front door. I wanted to know what date and time they showed up, and I wanted to be notified pretty instantaneously when they arrived. And I was looking ideally for less than 10 seconds. And this was mostly driven by the need that I had contractors and package delivery people, gardeners, neighbors, and all kinds of people just showing up at my front door, and I wasn't there. And I didn't know why they were there or what they were doing. So that's pretty much what drove this. So here are the phases of my project as I see it right now. So phase 1 was when someone shows up at my front door, I take a snapshot, and then I send that to my phone via an SMS. And that's what I presented at PyCon US in March. Phase 2 is taking a video clip of the visitor, and I have a subphase 2.1, which is also an audio clip, and sending that to my phone. Phase 3 is a live video stream, one way only. And then also I wanted to do an audio notification to whoever came up saying, hey, welcome, we'll be chatting or something to make them feel comfortable that they were being viewed. Phase 4 is two-way audio. And phase 5, incredibly ambitious, two-way audio and video. So that's what I'm thinking of right now. Somewhere in there, I want to do some face recognition stuff, but we'll see how that goes. So what I really wanted to present today was phase 3, which was like a live video stream, but my water heater broke, and so I didn't have time to do anything. So today, I'll be doing phase 2. So let's say I have a contractor that comes to my front door to do some work. What happens is my proximity sensor, which is right here, outputs a change signal to the Arduino, which is right there. The Arduino then relays the change signal to the Raspberry Pi, which is right here. The Raspberry Pi then instructs the webcam, right here, to start taking a video clip and an audio clip. Oh, that's my phone. The webcam then takes the video and audio clip and sends it back to the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi then uploads this video audio clip to somewhere in the cloud and then sends an SMS to my phone notifying me. So that's pretty much my entire project on a slide. So this is what I'm going to be talking about and showing today is phase 2, as I mentioned, video clip of the visitor who shows up at the front door, and I'm going to ask for a volunteer from the audience. I will also take an audio clip. It's a 10-second capture. This is something I discovered just about a week ago. It didn't occur to me that Twilio would not be supported outside the US. So I wasn't able to send an SMS to my phone in Australia. So I reverted to my backup mode and integrated with Twitter, so at least I could tweet. So that's what I'm going to be showing today. So why did I choose this solution? Because there are other ways to do this. The primary reason was it's reasonably inexpensive. Everything included is less than $100. And I looked and I couldn't find anything commercial that would give me the features that I needed, particularly sending me a notification to my phone. So there are a lot of security cams and monitoring services which are also pretty pricey. So I didn't want to pay that much. And also, they didn't give me the feature of notifying me on my phone. So that's kind of the main reason I chose this solution. Also, to learn about hardware and to build my own solution. That way I could tweak it whichever way I wanted, and nobody could tell me you can't do this or you can't do that or you have to pay more. So that's the second reason. And I get to speak at conferences. This has turned out to be interesting because almost everywhere I've submitted this proposal has been accepted. And so now I have this dilemma of trying to use all my vacation, which is very precious, in the US, to go to conferences and speak. But it's something I'm totally willing to do. And also to inspire others. And I didn't realize this the first time I spoke, which is in PyCon US, that there are people all over the world, especially young girls, that really need to see women talk about technical stuff, particularly, gadget-related stuff or robotics-related stuff, which is kind of cool. And it came home to me when somebody from Brazil tweeted that he was showing his 9-year-old daughter the video from PyCon US, and that's when it really sank in that, oh, I need to do this. So yeah, so these are the reasons. So this is all the hardware that I used. I'll go left to right and top. So the proximity sensor connected via breadboard and jumper wires to the Arduino. I'm using the Arduino Uno R3, and that's connected to the Raspberry Pi, which is also connected to the webcam. And the connections from the Arduino to the Raspberry Pi is USB, and so is the webcam. This is a picture of the SMS showing up on my iPhone. This is a picture of the tweet showing up on my iPhone. And when I click on the URL on the tweet, it takes me to Dropbox, which is what I'm using for this phase, where you can see the video and audio clip. So a really quick run through. I'm not going to go over everything on this slide. Main things: RaspberryPi runs full stack Linux. It has Ethernet and SD card support. And one of the main reasons that I did not hook up the sensor directly to the Raspberry Pi through GPIO is because I read on many forums that it gave a lot of flaky readings because of time-sensitive applications were giving flaky readings. So that's one of the reasons I actually am using the Arduino. I shouldn't need to use the Arduino for this. I haven't had time to actually test this myself to see if all these sites are actually valid, but that's on my to-do list. And here's a really busy slide with Arduino RPi and BeagleBone and White comparisons. The key things here I just want to point out is price. Is $30 for the Arduino, 35 for the Raspberry Pi, and like $100 for the BeagleBone and White. RAM, let's see, 2 kilobytes. Sorry, 32. What am I reading? I can't read from here. Anyway, 256 megs for both the Raspberry Pi and the BeagleBone, and I believe it's like 2K flash for the Arduino Uno. Key things. Oh, there's a Model B. Oh, okay. So that's incorrect. Okay. USB ports. So the Raspberry Pi has 2 USB ports, which is what I'm using. The BeagleBone White has 1. And the video and output, the RPi is the only one that has HDMI support, which eventually I want to use for something. So here's pretty much all the software that I wrote. So I have an Arduino Sketch that reads the output from the sensor, and then all the heavy lifting is done on the Raspberry Pi with 2 Python scripts. So the first one is PiDoorbell recognizer.py, which reads the output from the Arduino, and then it does this object detection, debouncing, very crude debouncing algorithm. And then it takes the video clip and sends a message using FFmpeg to the webcam to take the video and audio clip. And then it uploads the video to whichever site I choose. And then it calls sendNotifications.py to actually send the URL to whichever notification mechanism I choose. So in sendNotifications.py, it actually takes a configurable parameter to either send an SMS or a tweet. And so that's how the URL is sent. A quick snapshot of the proximity sensor and the model number, HCSR04. The maximum range for this is 16 feet. I have it calibrated at about 30 inches, so anybody who walks up to less than 30 inches is going to be detected. This is the Arduino Uno R3, which is what I'm using. I have another picture. Okay. This is not the Uno R3, this is a Mega, but the key things are kind of similar. The digital I/O pins. I have power and ground. I'm using the external power, and I'm using the USB port, and that's pretty much it that I'm using. I'm not using anything else for this project. This is how it's tied up with the power and ground, the red and blue wires, and then I have the echo and trigger pins going from green and yellow wires. And I have it set up, I'm going to put it out in the open space room, so feel free to come by and take a look and see. So Arduino DEP Setup. This was super simple. You just go to arduino.cc and download the DEP kit, hook it up to your Mac or PC or whichever Unix box you like. And then look at some example sketches. There are a whole bunch of them. So typically, blinking lights and stuff. And that's pretty much it. So it was really easy to do. And that's my Raspberry Pi in my new clear case. So the things I'm using in the Raspberry Pi are SD card slot, micro USB power, I'm using Ethernet, and I'm using the USB ports. And for now, that's all I'm using for this project. I wanted to show a picture of my front door and where I'm going to be mounting this thing. So if you see that little square hole on top, that used to be a light. So my house was built in 1955, which is when this was the standard design. And so the previous owner, I think, did something, so it's been a hole forever. And so that's where I'm going to mount it. And I'm going to show you a close-up. So that's the close-up of that hole. It's about approximately 8 by 8 by 6 inches. And if you can see deep inside, there's this little circular thing, and that's actually the power. The light bulb screws in there. So I might have to modify something there. I also, for some reason, so I should back up. I used to use a nano Wi-Fi dongle for this to communicate, and then I moved my wireless router, and for some reason I'm getting a lot of bounces, and so it's been flaky. So I need to run an Ethernet cable from my router to this box. So that's another to-do. But anyway, this is where everything's going to get mounted eventually. So things I had to do to set up the Raspberry Pi. So I'm using the December 2012 Wheezy Raspbian image. I had to install pip and PySerial, and I'm using FFmpeg. I had to compile it, and it took about almost 3 hours to compile. And for some reason, my Raspberry Pi got really, really warm. And I have a couple of other friends who also tried this, and theirs did not get that warm, so I don't know what's going on with that. Also, I had to get the libraries for Dropbox, and there's a whole bunch of SDKs you have to get to do OAuth 2, and then upload and sync the files. Also, the libraries for the Twilio APIs for SMS. And I wanted to mention the output from the Arduino shows up at the dev TTY ACM 0. For some reason, it took me a long time to find this information, so that's why it's on the slide. Right, demo time. So, need a volunteer. So what's going to happen is, I have, cool. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get out of my presentation. Yeah, you can come this way. That's fine. I'm going to get out of my presentation. I'm going to go to my terminal screen and run a bunch of stuff. And essentially, this is the proximity sensor. So eventually, Frank. Hi, Frank. Rupa. So Frank will walk up slowly to the proximity sensor, and you will see, because I'm going to run my script in the foreground, you'll see he's going to be detected. I'm going to hold this up so that we can at least capture his face and, not something else. And then we'll take a 10-second video and audio clip of you, and then you'll see it get uploaded to Dropbox, and then you'll see the tweet being sent, and then I'll show you on my phone that the tweet shows up, and then we'll click on the URL, it'll take me to Dropbox, and then we'll run the video on my phone. So that's what we're going to do. All right. Where's my mouse? Oh, there we go. All right. Oh. So I already logged into my RPi. Oh, I should talk about the network connectivity. Okay, never mind. So what I have right here is I have Ethernet running from my Raspberry Pi to my Mac, and I have my Mac just handing out a DHCP address to this. So it's set to 192.168.2.2, which is what I'm SSH to. And so I'm in my PiDoorbell directory with a whole bunch of scripts. Some of them work, some of them don't. So what I'm going to do is run PiDoorbell recognizer. in interactive mode, that's I. And earlier this week, when I arrived, I was trying to get this to work, and because of the Wi-Fi issues, it was hideous. So I put in an additional parameter just to keep testing, different timeouts and different latency values. So currently I've set to 30. Opens dev tty acm 0 on that, and it's reading 0, which is fine, which means it hasn't detected, 16 feet, there's nothing in 16 feet, so it just says 0. So, yeah. So Frank's gonna walk, oh. Cool. All right, so come up. All right, close, all right. Detected an object. So when the light turns green, please start talking.
Hello, are you at home? Are you there? Answer the door. I've been waiting here in the cold. It's so cold here in Denver.
Oh, all right, cool. See, we got that. So it's uploading to Dropbox. And thank you for, I don't know your name, for your 4G phone connection. Excellent, thank God. Thank you, Frank. All right, so up there you can see it actually showing up on my Dropbox account, which is behind this on the Google Chrome window. So I get the URL to the file name, which is that, and sending the tweet with the URL. And actually I can, let me show you, not there. I need 2 hands. Oh, 5 new tweets, okay. So that was my old, oh, was that my old one or not? Hang on. So what's the URL? Where'd it go? That wasn't the URL, okay. Wasn't paying attention. Okay, let's see. So I'll show you on here, and then I'm gonna try to sync up over here. Oh, it shows up. So I don't know if you can see. So supposing I don't have my laptop, and it showed up in my stream over here, so I click on the URL, and I have it turned to the highest volume, but I'm going to put it close to my mic as possible. Oh, yes, thank you. Hello? Oh, yeah, that's good. All right, so play. Loading. So this is with the 4G, right?
Please start. Hello. Are you there? I've been waiting here.
Well, that's that's pretty much it. So that was that. All right, let me go back to my slideshow. So that was my demo. It would have been cool to have the video, like a live video stream. Oh well, that's the next step. So anyway, so I'm going to now talk quite a bit about the code. Maybe I'll skim through. How much time do I have? Oh, okay, I have time. Okay. So the Arduino Sketch code is really simple. It's every second I do a read and then send that to the Arduino. Yeah. And then here's the heavy lifting code under PiDoorbell recognizer.py. This is just setting up the serial reading information from the Arduino. This is, the main thing on this slide is the max trigger distance, which, as I mentioned, is set to 30 inches, so you have to come up to at least 30 inches or less to be detected. And then once you're detected, as you could see, I had to wait for 5 valid reads where it says detected an object, and and the actual distance. And that's my crude debouncing algorithm to filter out things like butterflies and moths and spiders and everything else that wants to crawl in front of the sensor. So that's what the valid pick threshold is set to 5. And then, so if you hit 5, then it sets up the file name, which has the date and timestamp. So all the files that are uploaded will have the date and timestamp, so I know exactly when they showed up. And this is the command to actually take the video clip. Key things here are resolution is 320x240, input device dev video 0, which is what the webcam is. I forget what ALSA is. AR is the audio sampling rate in hertz. AC1, I believe, is the type. I think it's AAC. AB, dash I, HW1 is the audio channel, whether it's mono or stereo. Then you've got AB, which is the audio bit rate in kilobits per second. And the time limit is 10, which is in seconds. So it's a 10-second capture. So FFmpeg is great. It does a lot of stuff. One thing to note is it doesn't work with all webcams, so you have to do some fiddling to see if you have a webcam that it doesn't work with, you might have to try some other software. The Dropbox stuff. Okay, so I use this Dropbox Uploader shell script to do all the access key exchanges and all the token stuff, and then to actually upload the file. And then I call send notifications with the Dropbox URL. And this is something that I wasn't expecting to do. I was expecting, hey, I just uploaded the file, I can just go to, home, Rupa Dachere, PiDoorbell, blah, 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 file name, right? No. What Dropbox does is it hashes the name, so, and the full path, actually. So in order to figure out what the URL is to the file, I had to set up a client session. I had to use a specific API, Dropbox client.share path, to get the metadata for that file, and then parse the metadata to get the URL. And that's what I send to my send notifications.py script. And that's essentially the parser where U is for the URL, M is for the mode. The mode can be either SMS or tweet or all, which is both. It sends both. And then this is the send SMS function where I set up the Twilio REST client, and then the heavy lifting is done by this client.sms.messages.create. You put in a phone number, and it sends an SMS to your phone. This is great. And send tweet, some initial setup with the token keys, and you have to actually do this. Specifically, you have to do this verify credentials thing. And then do the API post update to post the message to your account. Hardware and cost, one of my favorite slides. So $22 for the Arduino, $16 for the sensor, $35 for the Raspberry Pi. The webcam was for my junk pile, so I'm not counting it. It was $73. Plus, you add power adapter and some Ethernet cable, and some of this stuff you can just pilfer from stuff lying around, right? But approximately like $100, usually less than $100. Okay, you cannot find this kind of functionality anywhere for less than $100. And of course, then you can tweak it. That doesn't happen. So attributions, I bought all my hardware from Adafruit.com. FFmpeg.org was my go-to site to figure out what parameters to use to get it to work. Dropbox.com, as I mentioned, for the SDK, you have to download it and then go through the steps. Arduino.cc for anything Arduino related. And RaspberryPi.org for everything Raspberry Pi related. Adafruit.com also has pretty good tutorials for both of these, Arduino as well as Raspberry Pis. And the comparison chart that I showed was from the Maker site. I need to talk to them about the typo. I'm using the Python Twitter wrapper library to tweet. And I didn't use any books. I just used Google search and Stack Overflow, and that's all you need to do. So, issues and future work. So, we were really lucky today in this demo where you could actually hear most of what Frank said. I have had issues with lip sync where the audio and the video are off by a significant amount. So, I don't know why that is. It happens sometimes, it doesn't happen other times. I think it's the network, but maybe it's not the network, maybe it's, I don't know, something else. So that's some debugging that I need to do to figure out what it is to make it a little more reliable. Let's see. As I mentioned, Twilio is unsupported outside the US, so my fallback currently is Twitter, but what if I have to present somewhere where there's no Twitter? So that's one concern is, I need to have something that's viewable on my phone without having to use something I'm currently using. BeagleBone Black just came out, I don't know, a couple of months ago. I just got one. I haven't played with it, but I really want to use it and see if I can maybe remove the Arduino from the picture and just tie it directly to the BeagleBone Black. But the BBB has only one USB port, and I don't know if I can, if I need to use the Wi-Fi dongle that I have, the webcam has to use that USB port, so I need another USB port to use the Wi-Fi. So not sure. Also, the BBB community is not very large and so far not particularly active. So it's a concern that if I run into an issue, maybe I won't get the help to solve the problem. So that's a concern. Network latency. Once again, thank you to the gentleman who lent me the 4G thing. This is a huge issue. I don't know if I can find a way around it, but I gotta try. I gotta think of something else. Also, we have a new RPi camera module that's come out. It's available in the UK, but it's not available in the US yet. So I'm waiting for that, and once that shows up, maybe I can remove the webcam, and then I don't need that extra USB port. And so that's another option. And here's some info on me. And you can get my source code and slides for this talk from my GitHub account. I will be posting it in August because I'm also presenting this at OSCON at the end of July. And so email, Twitter, blog, site. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming.
Please thank Rupa Dachere.
Oh, cool. All right. Thank you. All right, thanks.
And thank you to Scott for lending us the 4G
yes.
hotspot. That was much appreciated.
Yes,
are there any questions for Rupa? Please come up to the microphones, for which I am holding one.
Thanks very much for that talk. Fantastic.
Hey, no problem.
2 questions. First of which about any privacy concerns, and the second one about normally for me at home for parcel deliveries. They rarely ring the doorbell at all, if they even come up to the doorbell. So is there something that you might think of, like a weight sensor if they're walking up towards there, or something like that?
A weight sensor?
A weight sensor.
What?
Weight, mass, as in step.
Wait, okay. Okay. So the first thing, privacy concerns. That's a really dicey area. I'm trying to think of ways to circumvent that, and that's why I was thinking of, in phase 3, as I mentioned, I was going to notify the person as they walked up saying, by the way, you are going to be on video now, and you will be, recorded now, so,
Come to the dark side there, cookies.
I've also thought of putting a little note up or a sign up, if, past the 30 inches, saying, as you approach the door, please be aware, you will be you might be, I can't say you will be, you might be recorded and videoed. If you have problems with this, use this other door kind of thing, So the way I have not thought about that. It would be interesting if I could do that. Off the top of my head, so when I walk up to the front door, there's tile on the floor. It's exposed tile. So in order to put like weight sensors somewhere there, maybe under the mat or something, I would have to run some sort of cable, right? So that might be a problem for me because it is exposed. Cables don't like to be exposed. Maybe I can use some shielding to a certain degree. But yeah, that's definitely something I could try. Yeah.
First thing, Frank, and it's
you've been videotaped and audio taped, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's a worry. It's a real worry when my wife sees it shortly. Now, there was back when we were talking about using FMMPEG to capture the video.
Yeah.
The way it was described on the slide was slightly misleading, I thought, so perhaps you should look at that.
The what?
So on the slide, so right back at the beginning when you first talked about it, it said something which...
That one?
No, before that.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, when I was
when you're
doing,
talking about how it all worked,
I think I know which slide you're talking about. Oh, you can go backwards through all my slides. Oh, here, this one, right? Because this is take video clip by sending a message to webcam FFmpeg.
That I thought was, yeah, that sort of misled me somewhat. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Now to the, sorry, you right? And the other thing was that here in Australia, and I don't know about your Twilio thing, we can't guarantee SMS delivery. So yeah, it's a universal problem.
Yeah.
So I think your Twitter sounds like a better idea. The other two I had was set up your private SSH keys, SSH into a machine somewhere where you can send some other kind of message, or just email. Email's not
I thought
instant,
about email.
but it's reliable-ish.
Yeah.
Once it works, it tends to keep working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I've got a question about the practicality of it. Arduino, Raspberry Pi, how rugged are they in practical terms? I mean, particularly in Australia, you'd end up with all sorts of UV problems, particularly on a clear case, corroding the connections, corroding the exposed wires. Have you got any practical experience with how robust the whole setup is in practice?
I'm looking for my door. There we go.
Yeah.
So, really good question, by the way. I haven't played enough with this yet because I'm just trying to get this thing to work. But that is something of great concern. The temperatures in Los Gatos can range anywhere from 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really, really hot, to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold. So my plan was to, in this enclosure, so I'm planning on building kind of like a plexiglass enclosure. There's this place called a tech shop where you can go and actually build your own, and that's going to be shielded except for the place where the webcam needs a clear view. Okay, so shielding up to a certain degree for most of the components, but I was also thinking of putting a temperature sensor there and somehow funneling some of my air conditioning through a duct that runs right. Yeah, so air conditioning, and maybe put in a little, like the tiniest fan I can think of, just for the hot days, and then for cold also it's the same duct for heat. So I can try to keep a reasonable temperature range for all the components, otherwise I don't think it's going to work well. Yeah, that was a great question, yeah.
Thank you again, Rupa.
Oh yeah.